Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my basement where I'm pulling sheets of paper today. Normally you would see me pulling sheets of military uniform paper, but today I am doing personal work. And the paper that I'm pulling is made from muslin. I gather the muslin cutoff that we use to stretch over flats in the business that I'm in, which is I work for fabricators that fabricate sets for and scenery for events and parties and fashion shows and all that stuff, and so we stretch muslin over our wall flats so we don't have to spackle the seams and you have a continuous flat. But when we stretch it over the flats, we always have 8 to 10 inch cutoffs, and you get 100 feet this way and 100 feet that way and 25 feet of that kind of cutoff, and it's 100% cotton. So I can take that muslin material and put it in our beater and beat it to a pulp. And there you have it. There's some muslin pulp. Muslin is really tough fabric, so it's not easy to beat it. It's made to endure paint and water and everything like that. So I think that's why it's so tough. It's in rough, and the muslin I'm using has never experienced water before. So fiber that has never had water in it is very resistant to it, and it's tough to beat. When we get uniforms that have been washed 100 times, they break down really easily into pulp. So this particular muslin pulp, I beat it for 45 minutes completely open so that my little 3/4 or 1 inch squares of fabric would completely separate into threads. Something I discovered, that you don't actually have to have a beating action from the blades and against the bed plate, that just it circulating, and I guess there's a very slight beating action that might be happening, but just from the circulation, those little patches of fabric break into their individual threads. And then for this particular pulp, after I got it to that place where I had no more squares of fabric anymore, it was all thread, then I lowered my roll, and I lowered it quite a bit. I mean, it went from 40, and I didn't hear any beating sound until I got down to around 5, and I think that's 5 millimeters. And then I started to beat it, and I beat it at 5 for about an hour, and then I lowered it down to 0, and I beat that, for over an hour. It's probably an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. So I'm excited about this pulp and what kind of sheets it'll make, and how easily it'll pull, etc., etc., etc. Where, with the muslin, quite often after beating, you still have lots of long threads. This does not have any of that, so I'm hopeful. And here we go. Yeah, nice. It's just what I was hoping for. It's a slow draining pulp. I have 2 buckets of this pulp, and my hope was that I'd be able to make 30 by 40 sheets with this pulp. When you're doing a 30 inch or a 30 inch by a 40 inch sheet of paper, you want a slow draining pulp, because it takes a little bit longer to form the sheet, and if it's a fast draining pulp, you don't have time to form the sheet on the mold. So I'm pleased. This is a call a slow wet pulp. And yeah, it looks really nice. And so what I'm also going to do is I'm going to hold it up here and look through it with the light behind it, see how even it is. I don't know that that'll ever show up on camera, but it's nice. It's a really even sheet of paper there. And so what I'll do now is I'll drain some more water out of it, off of the mold. And actually, it appears to me, even though this is a slow draining pulp, there's not a lot of water still retained in that. I have a steady stream in my direction, the direction given to me by somebody who made paper in Fabriano, Italy for a couple of weeks or a month or whatever, that he was told, you drain it until that steady stream breaks, and then it's ready to cooch. And this sheet is ready to cooch. Coucher, to lay down. Or coucher, I don't know how you say it in French. I don't even think I've ever seen the real spelling of it. But here we are going to lay our first sheet down onto our pellon. First sheet is always the most difficult to get to lay down without bubbling, but that was spectacular. I got a little something on there. Probably came off the mold. It's a little bit of military uniform paper. And there's another little speck in there, and I'm going to let that be. And there you have it. There's our first sheet cooched. So I'm pleased. We're going to wet our next pellon. Lay that down on top of that sheet. Beautiful. Lovely. Clean a bit of the stray pulp off of that. Yeah. This is something that I did not used to do, but I did it for the first time last week when I pulled military pulp. Is to add pulp after every sheet pulled. And it made a difference, if you ask me. It made a difference. The other thing is and I want to get the guy's name right. Ray Tommaso. God rest his soul. He had a video talking about paper making, where he pulled sheets, and that's what he did. He put pulp in every time he pulled the sheet out. And then the way you saw me charge the vat with the decal, that's something also that he did, which I have tried and I also like very much. Yeah, this is a super slow pulp. Of course, I knocked my decal, so this sheet will be slightly misshapen. Not a lot. It's not a terrible mistake. Yes, I'm hopeful. You know, there's so many steps in this process. So, I mean, here's the thing: you pull the sheet, drain the sheet, cooch the sheet. Then I've got to press the sheet, and then I've got to handle the sheet after it's pressed and put it into the dry box. There's all these different steps, and each one of them lends its own sort of signature to the sheet of paper. If you get them all right, then you get a beautiful sheet of paper. I've got to tell you, I mean, I've not gotten the muslin paper correct yet. I've made it, I think, 2 other times, maybe 3 other times. I think it's only been twice. First time was not a complete failure because, I mean, as long as you get a sheet of paper, it's not a complete failure, right? But the formation of the sheet on the mold was terrible. I didn't do a great job cooching it, and then I think the pressing of it wasn't maybe the best. So, while I didn't technically fail, in my mind, I failed at making muslin paper. I'm very hopeful for this paper. I'm very, very hopeful. So, anyways, it's long enough. Adios. I'll keep you updated on the next steps. Probably you won't see this until it's been dried. Maybe I'll videotape something going in the dry box or out of the dry box, or yeah. Anyways, that's it. So long.